Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Al Getler here. Welcome to the show. We got an exciting show today for you with an exciting guest, someone who is a friend of mine, a part of our marketing group that I'm a part of, our networking group each Friday, which I love. That's on LinkedIn, or associated with LinkedIn, Zoom, the whole bit. It's really great. How are you doing? Hopefully you're doing well. 3-day weekend for some folks. Other folks, I had an appointment this morning with somebody in Texas. I think they're going to have a 3, 4, 5-day weekend based on the way the weather hit them. So I feel bad. They're not used to 1-degree weather down in Texas. So that's kind of a rough deal. So today we're going to talk about habits, right? Building habits. And I've read everywhere that habits take from 30 to 60 days to develop, sometimes more. Our guest today is going to take us through habits, especially as it relates to exercise. So she's going to join us in one moment. I do want to remind you that throughout our discussion, you are welcome to please comment. In fact, I'll put that up here right now. Please comment throughout our discussion, ask questions. Really important that we have you participating. We'd love to have you ask comments, ask questions, make comments. Also, a reminder that you can catch my show midweek on LinkedIn Live right here, Facebook Live right here, YouTube Live. Be a part of this. Tomorrow afternoon, we're going to have week 4 of our HR series. And tomorrow we're going to be talking about ageism. That's going to be at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 o'clock Pacific Time. Tomorrow we'll be talking about ageism, HR, and the whole idea of changing careers and what that means. And by the way, ageism is just not for people who are of a certain age on the upper scale, but also there are young people who are trying to land a position. They're being told they need to have experience. And then the question is, how do I get experience if no one will give me a shot? So it's going to be a good topic. So with that, I want to bring out our guest. She has been really a breath of energy for our group. I love her topic. She's a lot of fun. So without any further ado, let me have Jinglin Yang join us. Hi, Jinglin. How are you?
Hi, Al. I'm doing well. How about you?
I am doing very well. Very, very well. Good to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, good. Hey, listen, first of all, I want to tell you, you are a fitness and habit coach, but you're also a CPA. So not to make a pun, but that doesn't add up. Tell me a bit about your background. How did you go from CPA to fitness and habit coach?
Yes, absolutely. Let me just share with you a funny story of why I chose to be a CPA in the first place. When I was 18 years old, right before my classes starts in college, one of my friends told me that if you are ever going to have a company and if your manager and your accountant collaborate together, they can completely steal your company. And I thought to myself, oh my goodness, I want to have a company down the road. What's going to happen if I don't understand accounting? So the second day, I registered my first accounting class and started my accounting journey. One thing led to another. I was completely in accounting major and then looking for Big 4 jobs, being an auditor, right? And after that, I got my exams done and I was a CPA. So it's all from one sentence. If you want to have a company, you need to know accounting inside and out. Otherwise, in the end, just like the movie Shawshank Redemption, right? The company is not yours anymore.
Yeah, makes sense.
So I was down the road for 10 years until COVID hit. And I got a certain period of time by myself, not having to commute. And I realized, oh my goodness, this is how I started my journey. But is this how I want to end my journey?
Got it.
Yeah, and I realized, no, that's not the thing I want to do.
So you were on the road as an auditor? Is that what you're saying? You're doing auditing, or?
Yeah, and then after that, I was financial analyst, which is still working on Excel, a lot of financial statement, a lot of projection, things like that. Yes.
Gotcha. So then you entered into being a fitness habit coach. Did that come out of your own fitness and habits, or how did you end up becoming a fitness habit coach?
That's a wonderful question. Actually, I started to think about having my own business 2 years ago, and everything connected until 2020. For example, a long time ago, I was always debating that should I go to the gym today or not? And that debate would go on and off for 2 hours before I eventually decided to head to the gym after work. The good news is I went to the gym consistently 3 times a week for 3 years. But the bad news is I never wanted to go. So I thought, oh my goodness, I talked to my friends and everybody did the exact same thing. But I was one of the luckier ones because eventually I decided to go instead of not to go.
Right. Yeah, it's easy to join the gym. It's and drive by and wave as you go by it a couple times a week, but not actually go inside. Yeah, which is what makes the graphic that you came up with actually for this conversation the best, because that's very, very funny that we all look like you on the left and we want to look like you on the right. So let's jump into how we build that habit. And I actually saw you present this the other day. So we've got some overlays to talk about. I'm going to put the first overlay up. Let's kind of break it down. You have three steps for us to think about today, starting with mistake number 1, working out for the wrong reason. So what does it mean to work out for the wrong reason?
That's a phenomenal question. When you work out, I want to say, okay, so right before you start working out, you probably have a reason, right? Either you say to yourself, okay, I want to lose 10 pounds because I'm not so comfortable looking at myself into the mirror this way. Or you take out your favorite pair of pants or jeans and realize you can't fit in anymore. So you realize, oh my goodness, I need to lose the weight. Or you have your annual checkup and you go to the hospital and the doctors say to you, hey, you might want to watch out for your blood pressure or things like that. So it seems to me there is always a trigger how we start to work out, and everybody has a different trigger.
Right. Absolutely. For me, it's usually the doctor. Yep.
So here's the thing. When it comes to wrong workout, it means something usually linked to fear.
Okay.
Because fear is a vibration that's the lowest.
Right.
Fear gives us the lowest vibration. So when it comes to fear, you are at a mode that's almost comparable to an animal, because you are like, just run, just go, and you're not thinking, you're not using your prefrontal cortex anymore.
Right.
When you're in fear mode.
Yeah, and you say on your overlay here that that makes you continue to make the mistake because exercise feels like punishment. You stop exercising once the goal is achieved. These are reasons why you might be working out for the wrong reason. And then, so when you stop, how do you stop making the mistake? You say at the bottom of the slide, you stop making the mistake. So, great habits coach, how do we stop making this mistake?
Wonderful question. The number 1 tip I will share with you is to imagine that you are living in a world filled with abundance already.
Okay.
Which means you are living your dream life already. For example, that can mean when you look into the bank account, you have the exact amount of money that you wish to have. Or you're in a relationship that you're excited about, that you were dreamed of since you were 5 years old. Or you have the perfect family dynamic that you wish for. Everybody treats each other well, they respect each other, they listen and share with each other. When all things combined, whatever you tell yourself why you want to work out in that scenario is the real reason why you want to considering working out now.
Okay, so You are basically envisioning that you have that dream life before you accomplish it, and then you're going to start working out or doing anything for the right reasons. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. I will highly suggest that because
Okay.
you can see. Actually, I strongly encourage you to compare how you feel when you are saying to yourself, I want to lose 10 pounds because I gained 10 pounds in the past 6 months, and start to work out, versus you visualize the perfect life and then start to work out for the same
Got it.
amount of time.
Right. That makes sense. That makes sense. So therefore, if you dream about, if you think about living that dream life, you're kind of, at least in your mind, you're already there. Good. So we already move on to mistake number two.
Yes, let's
All
do it.
right. So mistake number two, you say, is choosing the wrong workout. And what does it mean? You're copying somebody else's workout. So you decide to work out, but you decide to work out like the gal or the guy next to you. And they've been at it a lot longer than you have, and they make it look a lot easier than it really looks. And 2 days into it, you go, I know I've been there at the gym, and you're next to somebody you look at their speed on their treadmill, and they're going super fast at a consistent pace, and you're having a hard time puffing out of a walk. So I get it. I get it. So how do we correct that? What's the way we go about correcting that?
That's a phenomenal question. I would say you would look at what you are good at and what feels natural to you. So when you combine these two things together, the chances are a phenomenal place to start is to look at your existing hobbies, right? And that hobby doesn't even have to be linked to a physical exercise. For example, if you love reading, you can ask yourself, what's the one aspect of reading that you enjoy the most, right? Whether it is the tranquility, the peace that you are enjoying while you're reading, or you just really like the process of self-reflective and being able to reflect on the recent event. So when you are enjoying those two aspects, the chances are you're going to love walking, because while you are walking, you can multitask. You can,
Okay.
right? You can listen to a podcast,
right,
audiobook. So, and you can be self-reflective.
yeah, okay. So I jumped ahead a little bit too. I apologize, but on this slide about the mistake, you also say, which brings you to where you're at. You pick the wrong workout, it's no fun. You just don't look forward to it. And I know there are some days people who exercise in a gym, they do circuits, and some circuits they really like and some circuits they really don't. But I guess you have some gamification you have to put together, right? You reward yourself. Like you say, the walk is the thing that you can do because you enjoy that. It's a habit. You put on an audio book, you put on a podcast, and you can reward yourself. And that's one of the things that drives me the most. I'm a big audio listener. I love listening to books on recordings, or I consume a lot of podcasts. So I think that's a great idea to combine those two things. That's great. All right, let's go on to the next mistake.
Yes.
So the next mistake is you're unaware of your progress. So first of all, you forgot that you had progress. You say, right? What's that about? How do you forget that you had progress?
Yes, that's a wonderful question again. For example, how many of you actually remember what you ate 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago, let's say Wednesday, okay, 14 days ago, what did you eat on Wednesday for lunch? I certainly don't.
Yeah.
Right? We need to have a system to record what we actually did and how we did it.
Okay. Gotcha. So one of the ways we do that is have a system. And then of course, if you don't record that, then you're not going to be aware of this wasting of time. And, when you understand how your time is managed, then as you say, you're more likely to push through the face of diversity and plateaus. So we start a progress journal. We keep track of how we are doing with progress and how we feel, even, right? Is feeling a part of that progress? Should we journal how we're feeling when we're doing certain things?
Yes, that's actually a phenomenal question. From the start, I would say not yet. From the beginning, if you have never done a progress journal before, I highly suggest you start very simple. For example, you can just take out a blank piece of paper and fold it in half, and then reopen it. You will have two columns, left and right. So on one side, you just write down to applaud, meaning what's the one thing that you are so proud of yourself for this session? And on the other side, you can put down to improve, meaning what's the one thing that you hope that you can focus on during the next session so that you can get more progress? I highly suggest that you start with two things, and then a few weeks pass by, you can add feelings as well. I think feelings are really important, but at first, we want to see that you have more progress first, and then you can address the feeling piece.
So with progress, obviously the feeling is going to be accomplishment, and that's a nice feeling to have.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that makes total sense. Absolutely. So as a fitness and habits coach, you've given us 3 mistakes we can make and then corrections we can make. So let's go kind of through the hot tips. And again, imagine your dream life, starting off with that, right? We do that, we're off to the races. And then we pay attention to our current hobbies. And as you point out, that could be the fact that you're an audio listener and you reward yourself by including that in your workout. Or some people like to watch movies. I know friends of mine that will hit exercise machines with the screen on and they're watching a movie. Or I know one gentleman who's a news junkie. And then when he watches his news is first thing in the morning when it's dark and no one else is around, and he can watch the news uninterrupted on the treadmill. And that's another great habit.
Oh, yeah.
And then your other tip is keep a progress journal. Know that, people are needing to write things down. And it's like anything with time management too, right? When you write things down, you can see your progress. When you write down your goals, should you write your goals down too, Jinglin? Is that something that people should do? Is that important for you when you're building a habit to write down your goals?
I believe when you just get started, it's not as important. But as you are becoming semi-professional or you're working out consistently already, then goal becomes more and more important. But from the right beginning, as long as you know in your head what your goal is, it works. Because normally, for example, for me, I had the same goal since I started working out.
Oh, really? Can you share that? Can you share your goal?
Yeah. Oh, no, actually, for now, I have a different goal. But for the first 10 years, I had the same goal.
Can you share what that goal was?
Yeah. I had yo-yo weight and yo-yo diet. So my goal always to lose 10 pounds.
I gotcha. Well, we're all there. I mean, that's what everybody, listen, I had a birthday this past weekend and my wife made the most wonderful, delicious, gorgeous birthday cake ever. And I had a goal, which was to eat as much of that cake as I could and leftovers. So
that's wonderful.
That's a bad goal. That's a really bad goal, but it's a goal. I mean, goals matter. Absolutely. Yes. So, Jinglin, one of our friends, Dave, worked with you. He was very impressed with how you kept him on task. I know you have a website. Let me put that up here on the screen so people can see that. And tell us what, if I was going to reach out to you to help you with my habits, what is it you're going to help me with? How did you help our friend Dave? What kinds of things can people expect when they work with you?
Oh, that's a great question. So if you want to reach out to me, you just click book a call button, and then we will be jumping on the call, and I will ask you a few questions to see what are the areas that you really need my help with, or what are the things that we can work together to get to a better result.
Okay, so you're going to help the person that calls you with all the things we just mentioned. You're going to hold them responsible. Is that what coaching is really about? Is it about holding people responsible for the things they want to accomplish?
That's actually one aspect of the coaching.
Okay.
Yeah, for me, for example, if you were in my program, I will walk you through progress, ownership, motivation, and self-control. We
Wow.
will talk about everything around habits development.
Got it. Okay.
Right. So accountability is really a part of the entire formula.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And I mentioned at the beginning of this too that habits we're told take a certain amount of time to form. And
Yes.
what is your take on that? How long does it take to form a habit?
I love that question again. This is a very tricky question because according to different research, there are different answers. If you do research right now on computer, on Google, you will find different numbers everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no agreement right now.
Right.
But one number I believe the most is that the average date to form a habit is 66 days. But that's the average.
Okay, 66. That's interesting.
Yeah, that's the average.
Right.
Meaning there are some habits like eating a piece of candy after dinner that might take 3 days to form that habit, right?
Yeah.
Because it's so intrinsically rewarding.
Yes. Yeah. I can name that food in one note, but all right, go ahead.
Right. So that 66 day really takes into account that 3-day habit versus, let's say, reading 50 pages a day before going to bed. A habit like that, that can take many months.
Yeah.
Many months.
Absolutely.
Yes. So if you average all of those out,
right,
the average is 66.
Okay. All right. So 66 is your number. And I've heard anywhere from 30 to 60. So 66, you've obviously given that some thought and some challenge. So that makes total sense. Good deal. Good deal. So, Jinglin, if someone wants to work with you, you said they click the call, you set a date button and work with you. I'll put that back up on the screen. Just really quickly, what happens at that point when a person hears from you? For instance, our friend Dave started working with you. What's the first step you take towards that? When someone starts working with you.
So here is what you can expect. For example, when we are on the call, the first thing I actually would like to ask you is, why are we on the call?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So is there a particular issue that you want to solve? Is there a problem you want to solve? Is there a goal that you are just so excited about and you just want someone's help to get there? Right? Like, why are we on the call? Sometimes, usually it's because you are reaching at a tipping point that you have a lot of motivation and you really want to achieve certain goal and you just quite don't know how. A lot of cases, I'm working with clients in those situations.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, that's absolutely one part of it. Then we are looking at what's your past journey in achieving the goal, right? A lot of people would prefer to try to reach their goal themselves first before hopping on the call and working with me. And usually a lot of them have tried multiple times, at least twice or 3 times, and then they failed. And then they think, oh, is it really worth it to have the goal? Until they finally muster up the courage and call me and say, hey, can we work towards a common goal together? Can you help me with this? And then we start the
process.
Yeah. Coaching process. Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Great. Well, I have learned an awful lot about that. We're going to go through again your hot tips for this. subject of as you first of all tell us from making workouts from a burden to a bliss. Jinglin's top hot tips for this. Number one, her tip is to imagine that dream life when you head into this journey. Imagine the dream life. Imagine where you want to be, and that's going to help you certainly attain that and get closer. Correct?
Yes,
All right.
absolutely. I think yes.
All right. Tip number two, you say pay attention to your current hobbies. And your tip is to try to fold those hobbies into your workout routine. That's going to make it more pleasant. And you're going to look forward to your workouts a lot more.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
And then finally, you say start a progress journal. Record so you can see it. Record that you can make yourself responsible for what's going on. You mentioned put feelings aside for a bit and just get down to your progress. And then you can talk about how you'll feel later on. So perfect. Good deal. Well,
Yeah.
I appreciate you being here today. We have had up on the screen there. You said to me before we came on, you wanted folks to check out your Instagram account. What will they see on your Instagram account?
I will share with you everything related to fitness habit. So,
okay.
Yeah. So, for example, how to deal with frustrations, how to motivate yourself, or how to deal with the mindset tricky part.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm more focused on the mindset when
Gotcha.
it comes to Instagram. And I believe that's the most important part of the entire journey.
Got it. And then, of course, if you want to work with Jinglin, you can go to her website, jinglingyang.com. Plain as could be, it's your name. That's perfect. We showed that on the screen before. And I urge people to reach out to you. Well, Jinglin, thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate you being here and the words you had to share with us on fitness and habits. Really, really helpful stuff.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Al. This has been so great. I loved it.
Good deal. Well, listen, I'm going to have you head backstage and hang out there. I want to say a proper goodbye to you after we get off the air here. So I'll have you do that right now, and I'll see you in just a few minutes. I'm going to say goodbye to the audience first. Thanks, Jinglin.
Thank you, Al.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, great, man. She is so uplifting. I just love her attitude. It's absolutely fabulous. So I mentioned earlier, too, when we first started with Jinglin that, we're here today usually at 2:00. Tomorrow, we're going to be here a little bit later. I had to adjust the schedule a bit, but we're going to be talking to Catherine Miller again, and we're going to be talking about the HR journey we've been discussing. Tomorrow, we're going to discuss ageism and how it affects us in the hiring process. And, ageism, people think about older folks getting hired. Not necessarily true. Ageism affects every different age group, especially as you're trying to gain some type of experience. So join us for that discussion. Pretty important stuff. With that, I hope you enjoyed today's show. I certainly enjoyed hearing from Jinglin. She is really just a burst of energy, fun to be around. I urge you to look her up on her website and on her Instagram as she posted. We'll be back tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern time, 1 p.m. Pacific time. Until that time, enjoy your day. We'll see you soon.